In a quiet neighborhood, there lived a dog named Max, a mischievous golden retriever with a heart full of joy and a nose for trouble. Max was famous for his knack for getting into all sorts of funny situations, whether it was chasing his own tail or sneaking treats from the kitchen counter when no one was looking. One sunny morning, Max decided that today would be the perfect day to explore the great outdoors. His human, Sarah, opened the door to let him into the backyard, but Max had other ideas. He squeezed through the fence and embarked on an adventure through the neighborhood. Max trotted down the street, his tail wagging like a flag in the wind, sniffing every tree, bush, and mailbox in his path. Along the way, he encountered Mrs. Thompson's cat, Whiskers, who was perched on a fence with a look of disdain. Max barked happily, convinced that Whiskers wanted to play, but the cat was less than amused and leaped onto the roof of a nearby shed, leaving Max to wonder why the game had ended so abruptly. Unfazed, Max continued his journey, stopping only when he discovered a puddle that was just too tempting to resist. With a gleeful leap, Max landed in the puddle, splashing water everywhere and turning himself into a soggy mess. A passing jogger couldn't help but laugh at the sight of the drenched dog, who seemed utterly pleased with himself despite his now muddy fur. Max, realizing that he was now quite far from home, decided it was time to head back, but not before he found a deliciously smelly patch of grass to roll in, adding an extra layer of grime to his already dirty coat. When Max finally returned home, Sarah was waiting for him with a mixture of relief and exasperation. She had been searching for him everywhere, and when she saw his muddy, smelly state, she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Sarah grabbed the hose and gave Max a good rinse, but the dog just wagged his tail, enjoying the cool water and the attention. Clean once more, Max bounded inside the house, where he promptly found a cozy spot on the couch to curl up and nap. His day of adventure had worn him out, but as he drifted off to sleep, Max couldn't help but dream of his next big exploration. He knew that tomorrow would bring new sights, new smells, and maybe even another chance to chase Whiskers, who, despite her grumpy demeanor, was secretly amused by the dog's endless energy. As the days went by, Max's adventures became the talk of the neighborhood. There was the time he somehow managed to get into the local bakery, charming the baker into giving him a treat before being gently escorted out. And then there was the day Max decided to join a group of kids at the park who were playing soccer. His attempts to dribble the ball were clumsy but hilarious, and the children quickly adopted him as their unofficial mascot, cheering him on as he stumbled and fumbled his way across the field. Max's boundless curiosity often led him to unexpected places, like the time he followed the scent of fresh bread straight into the grocery store, where he caused a minor commotion before Sarah could retrieve him. Despite these occasional mishaps, Max was adored by everyone he met, his joyful spirit impossible to resist. At home, Max had a knack for making ordinary moments extraordinary. He turned bath time into a splash zone, transforming the bathroom into a miniature lake, much to Sarah's dismay. Meal times were always an event, with Max's eager eyes and hopeful expressions, making it nearly impossible for anyone to finish their food without giving him a taste. He had a particular fondness for peanut butter, which he would save up with exaggerated enthusiasm, licking his chops for what seemed like hours. But it wasn't just his antics that made Max special. It was his unwavering loyalty and the way he could sense when someone needed a little extra love. If Sarah was having a tough day, Max would snuggle up beside her, resting his head on her lap, and looking up at her with those big, soulful eyes that seemed to say, "It's going to be okay." Even the mailman, who initially found Max's daily greetings a bit too enthusiastic, eventually grew to appreciate the dog's friendliness, often bringing an extra treat along for his furry friend. Max's world was filled with simple joys, chasing butterflies, rolling in the grass, and being surrounded by the people he loved. But perhaps his greatest joy was making others laugh. Whether it was his funny expressions, his silly antics, or just the way he seemed to find happiness in the smallest things, Max had a way of bringing a smile to everyone's face. As the seasons changed, so did Max's adventures. In the winter, he loved bounding through the snow, his golden fur standing out against the white landscape as he tried to catch snowflakes on his tongue. In the spring, he would chase after the birds and squirrels that darted around the yard, never quite catching them but always enjoying the thrill of the chase. Summer brought trips to the lake, where Max would splash in the water and fetch sticks until he was too tired to swim. No matter what the season, Max's playful nature never wavered. He approached each day with the same enthusiasm, always ready for whatever fun might come his way. His happiness was contagious, and those who knew him couldn't help but feel a little lighter in his presence. As the years passed, Max grew older, but his spirit remained as lively as ever. His muzzle turned gray and his steps became slower, but he still greeted each day with a wagging tail and a twinkle in his eye. Max had a way of making even the most mundane days special, and Sarah often found herself reflecting on how much joy he had brought into her life. He was more than just a pet. He was a friend, a companion, and a source of endless laughter. In his final days, Max's adventures became a little less grand, but he still found joy in the small things: a sunny spot on the floor to nap in, a gentle scratch behind the ears, or a quiet moment with Sarah by his side. And when the time came for Max to cross the Rainbow Bridge, he did so peacefully, surrounded by the love of the people whose lives he had touched so deeply. Though he was gone, his spirit lived on in the memories of his many adventures and the laughter he had brought to so many. Max's story was one of love, laughter, and the simple joys of life. He reminded everyone that happiness could be found in the smallest moments, and that a little bit of mischief could make the world a brighter place.